It's in the family that we learn our first relationships, right? We experience love for the first time.
Hi, we're back with another interview from the Marriage Catechumenate Summit in Houston, Texas. Today, we're talking to Julia Dezelski, Assistant Director for Marriage and Family Life for the USCCB, or the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops if you're wordy. She gives us a high-level view of the state of marriage in our country and helps us to understand how new ideas and initiatives are approached and disseminated by our bishops. We hope you enjoy this bonus interview, and please keep an eye out for the future documentary coming soon. So far, from what I've seen, it functions very differently from your standard conference. It just seems like a different kind of intentionality here, not just like everybody come together and can talk and hug, but like we got to do the work here.
Right, exactly. That was our intention from the very beginning, because we knew that this document would require unraveling, unpacking, and really a lot of collaborative work on how to make it come into a reality for our church in the United States. The experience of each diocesan director is different. The Diocese of Los Angeles is extremely different from the Diocese of Tulsa and Oklahoma. So, to give you an example, right, you have completely different geography, but also the demographics are different, the cultures and ethnicities are different. You have different needs in different dioceses. So, and also the clergy with which you work are going to be receptive or not. So it's important that each diocesan leader also bear in mind the realities that they're going home to. Like how is this going to unfold in my diocese and the reality that we live in for our people of God, right, that I serve together with my bishop.
Given what you've seen and given the opportunity you've had to interact with people from around the country, what is the state of the church and what is the state of marriage in particular around the country?
Yeah, our country is so vast and diverse, but here we experience a lot of similarity insofar as there's a lot of challenges ahead. There are studies that will demonstrate the precipitous decline of marriage overall, but especially in church. The actual statistics are alarming at just how few the marriages are taking place in church, respect to just a few generations ago. So that's one challenge that we're experiencing across the board. Another problem, of course, are the complexities of these experienced by the couples coming to us for marriage, right? Because of the cultural and societal ambiance in which we live. I mean, this is our society today in which we're not really helping young people prepare well for marriage, especially considering high divorce rates, high rates of cohabitation, high rates of the lack of chastity before marriage, etc. How do we undo that? Well, there's a lot of work of transformation at the catechetical level, this catechumenal pathway to marriage starting at a young age in childhood, because it's the child who experiences marriage of one's parents. It's the child who brings to a marriage that family of origin and the relationships and the experiences of marriage, marital love, and just human relationships that happened in the home, right? So we really have to begin there. And here too, we see it's a problem that we experience nationwide. That of just preparing young hearts and minds to the vocation of marriage, or to really any vocation that calls for the gift of self. As we know, all vocations are a gift of self in some way, whether that's also a call to consecrated life or to the priesthood. But married life in a particular way is a call to that self-giving love that we don't see many examples of in today's society, right? In which there's a lot of selfishness, there's a lot of materialism, but there's also a lot of the breakdown of the family, of course, doesn't help create that vision of love that marriage is called to be, right? It doesn't matter where you are in the United States. Those challenges are present, but there are also opportunities to grow. And I think we really have to start there and looking at the holistic vision of marriage preparation starting at a young age in our families.
And I think it's interesting that, we're here at the summit and the majority of people here are part of the laity. And so I think there's a temptation to think of we need to change something in the church. and the bishops just need to like wave a magic wand to put a rule in place and that'll solve the problem. And I think, I forgot who said it, I think it might have been Ryan who said it in an interview earlier with us, evangelization happens at the pace of friendship. And so for this to work, like, yes, the bishops need to be aware of what's happening and they need to put kind of guidelines in place, but how are the bishops empowering the laity in their diocese, or seeking to empower the laity in their diocese, or maybe not even empowered, to challenge them to step up, to do this type of work?
Ever since Vatican II, there has been a greater desire to place the laity in their proper role as co-responsible for the life of the church, together with the clergy, right? And we receive that all in our baptism. And so that reality has become much more apparent over these past few generations of recognizing just what that means. But I think it again goes back to the families, because it's in the family that we learn our first relationships, right? We experience love for the first time from our mother, from our father, from our grandmother, grandfather, whoever it might be. But it's in the family that we experience those relationships first. So I very much like that, putting evangelization in perspective as a path of relationships, that evangelization only happens as fast as those relationships take place, and as well as those friendships are formed. But all of that really goes back to what we experience as a family. Mentor couples who are formed to accompany engaged couples to marriage are going to be a key element to this catechumenal document. I mentioned that earlier in some of my remarks, that the couple that starts that family is they're entering into a new dimension of their calling as priest, prophet, and king at baptism when they are married. That new identity now as ministers of their domestic church.
And I guess the last thing I want to ask you, Julia, is we're here at the summit right now. What is your hope for the fruits that this summit bears?
Oh, there's so many. There's so many hopes. But I would say that my first hope is that this really sets our hearts afire and really starts something new here. I mean, really allow this to become a reality for our church here in the United States. Now, I've been using the word vision a lot, because this is really a new vision of how we do marriage preparation. And it's not going to, I don't expect it to happen overnight, right? Realistically, this is not even going to, it might take years, really, maybe generations, to really see the full fruits of this work. But ultimately, I believe that it will bear tremendous fruit, because we will see strong, fruitful, thriving marriages. We will see the rate of divorce go down. We will see the rate of marriages in church go up. We will see more fruitful, holy, sanctified marriages that are stronger and life-bearing for the future of the church and society.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely.